Hello friends, it's Simone. We are on day 13 of 30 inks, 30 days in September 2023. And without much, how do you say that? Without further ado, let's pick an ink for today. I have pre-selected the inks that I want to use in the month of September so that I get to use some of the inks I haven't used before, but also that are interesting to me, that I maybe skipped over several times previously. And this one is Karibik. I think it's an Octopus Fluid Karibik ink that we received in an ink flight in November of 2022. Maybe, probably. The way I selected the inks, I have a video on my channel. If you haven't watched that yet, and if you are curious about it, then please check that out. It is linked in the description box down below. This is the ink. I will also link the swatching video for you so you can see my first reaction to it. I think I wanted to try this for a long time because I thought it was very interesting in the shading and it's very bold, but for some reason there was always a different turquoise teal color that I didn't get, that I always skipped over this one. So what pen am I going to put this ink in? Have you noticed that I have been really hesitant to use any of my new pens? Yeah, I have, for sure. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm still afraid to put an ink into my monarch nib. I need to get over that. But I think what I'm going to do today is I am going to ink up my new pen with a new nib. This is the Gravitas pocket pen, and the material is Delrin. And I really loved it. It just stood out to me when I passed by the table, and so I touched it and tested it out, and it felt comfortable in my hand. I do like the look of pocket pens, and I do like the look of Kaweco pens, which clearly this was, or it looks like it was greatly inspired by that, by those pens. It has a roll stop, which I really like. I don't know if you can actually see that. Right here it's flat, so it lays here like that, which I really like. I appreciate it. It's not completely faceted. There's just one flat spot right here. So I passed by the table at the San Francisco Pen Show and I was drawn to this pen. I picked it up, I tested it out, and I really liked it. I was on the lookout for a pen that I would be able to put in this nib. This is a San Francisco show nib, and it was specially ground by Kirkspear for me. This is a cursive smooth italic left foot oblique. You can see that it is a little bit tilted towards the side. I was curious about this grind and I wanted to try it, and now I get to do that. And I'm really curious. That's all I have to say. So let's get into the whole shebang that I usually do. Let's put away all of the stuff. Okay, guess what I did today? I brought out my other paint brushes. These are the ones, I purchased them several years ago in Santa Cruz in an art store that doesn't exist there anymore. They have these Simply Simmons. Those were the most affordable ones. And if I am correct and not mistaken, these are actually not watercolor brushes. These are more acrylic brushes or so. Gouache? No, I don't know. But they're really stiff, very bouncy. And I really like them. I have gotten used to them. I don't have to shake this. This is not a shimmering. Wow, wow, like that. And then let's do the thing. I usually dip my paintbrush in the water once and then I dry it off. First of all, this way I can make sure that there is no residue paint in it. And I'm actually not sure that I got everything out, so I'm going to dip. Yeah, this is more clear. And then I take water back off. I feel like then by doing this, this looks kind of weird. I feel like it's going to fall apart soon. I feel by doing that, the bristles are not too dried out, and so not all of the ink completely saturates the bristles. See, that's why I liked this ink from the beginning. I really want to see what this looks in a pen, what this looks like in a pen. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so much better. I don't know why I kept using that other one all the time when I could use a different brush and have such a much different experience. However, there's some fuzzies involved here, which I don't want to use. Let's put some ink down here first. Is there anything I want to talk about today? I shouldn't talk anymore because I'm almost done. I've been transcribing that article that I mentioned, or the reason why I'm actually doing 30 inks 30 days. And I'm getting closer. So I learned about book bans, what they are. I learned that there's different bans active. So they can be banned from libraries, they can be banned from classrooms, they can be banned from the curriculum, they can be banned pending investigation, and that's probably the hardest part. Oh wow, look at, so this dries with this interesting dark halo around. I wonder if I can see this in the writing as well. And that was pretty dry, and basically the introduction to the whole thing was also, oh, I forgot this again. The introduction was quite lengthy and pretty dry, but now I'm getting into the books, the 11 most banned books in the United States. And interestingly enough, I think there's 3 graphic novels included, and I do have one of them, and so I'm really curious to see what that looks like. And I mean, the graphic novel that I have is genderqueer memoir. I'm really curious. I haven't read it, I have to admit. But I think what I will do is I will read this now. And then the other one is called Flamer. And the last one, and I'm really curious about why that is The Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel. And I'm also really curious to read that, because this was a show that was so successful, and I wonder if I'm just following I talked about this before. Am I only following those people who watch this and enjoy the show? Because I thought this was such a successful show. Why would you then want this book to be banned from your children's school and classroom? So that's something that I've been thinking about. And I'm curious to see what the contents are. There is one book that every time I read the synopsis or what the themes are of this book, I can actually really feel the anxiety building in my stomach pit. And I think this is a book that I might start reading and see how I feel about it, but I'm really cautious because this makes me antsy. No, antsy is not the right word. It just, when you're like kind of already know that you're scared because you will learn so many disturbing things about the world, society at large, and I don't know if I can handle this, which says a lot about me. I'm a white woman, middle-aged. And if these, yeah, because I feel like if teenagers really have to live life like that, I don't know if I want to be a part of a society that is like that. But that's not a thing on, can you see that this is not working? Yeah. It's not a critique at American society. It's a critique at all of the world's society, because there's so many. I'm not saying that Germany doesn't have any problems. So, yeah. I don't know. This is something that I always struggle with, is like, how do you deal with the fact that this is very deeply philosophical right now, but how do you deal with the fact that there's so many bad things happening in the world, so many bad things happening to children, teenagers, and still live a life and still be happy and still like continue to live? You know what I mean? Like, how can you? Yeah, I've always struggled with the thoughts on that, to be honest. Like, if I think about all of the things that are happening, okay, does this work? Yeah, it does. That are happening in this world, how can I be happy? How can I live a fulfilled life and not just break? Yeah, because there's so many people suffering from so many things. Okay, this went really sideways. I'm very sorry if I triggered anything with you. Maybe I should put a trigger warning in the description. I didn't mean to go so existential. But yeah, that's why I'm doing these fountain pen videos, because then I don't have to think about all the things. Okay, this is Octopus Fluids Karibik. And the pen is Gravitas Pocket. I don't know if it's called Pocket Pen, Pocket Delrin. And I'm just going to say cursive, smooth, italic. It's actually a medium nib that it's made from, with left oblique. And then the nib is by Penrealm. Penrealm. Okay, I like this, I have to say. I wanted a left oblique because I tend to tilt my nibs, but I also feel like I need to learn the exact tilting that I have to do to make this right smooth. But I think even if it's not, I can make it work. I just need to get to know this nib. And that's what I'm going to do now. See you later. Okay, I'm back. I wrote and I judged, but I wanted to come back because I had some time to think about what I said previously. And I think that the way, if we keep banning books, if we let this happening, then nothing will ever change. Because if our kids do not see what is happening in the world through books, because I don't want them to experience it in reality if they don't have to, but if they do not read these books, if they don't feel empathy for the societal mishaps that are happening all over the world, how is it ever going to change? Because clearly we are not changing it. We are way too comfortable in our lives. That's why so many people want to ban books, I assume. But yes, maybe a book will be hard for me to read, and maybe I will not be able to read 1 or 2 of these books. But if I am here as a parent and I am accompanying my child on a journey where a book might be hard, where a book might bring up so many questions, and of course I can totally imagine how issues that are brought up in these books will also feel kids, young adults, be very sad, angry at us for why did this happen? How can we be so? But if we do not talk about these issues, and if we do not raise critical thinkers who are going to go out there and change it, because they read all of those books, because they are empaths, and because they know that this is not going to be how it's going to happen forever, and how it's not, well, if we keep banning books, then, well, yeah, it's going to keep on happening forever. But I know, banning books is not the only reason why this is continuing. But we need to start somewhere. We need to raise kids who are questioning the status quo, who are going out there and are determined to change the world. And that's what we need. And if we ban books, we're not going to get that. So that actually gives me a lot of hope. And that's why I wanted to bring this up before I start diving into the pen, because I think, yes, there's a lot of bad things in this world happening, but these kids are our hope, and we need to make sure that they are going to change the world. All right, this pen is interesting. I did not expect this to be so slippery, and I think in combination with this nib, this is not going to make me happy long term, because this is a cursive smooth italic. Yes, it's smooth, but you still have to hold it at a certain angle, and it's super hard to keep that angle all the time because the grip section is so slippery. I would like to try this pen with a regular rounded tip, where it's not really important if I hold it like this or if the nib changes throughout my writing. But that's something that I noticed right away. Okay, so I'm going to read this, and then maybe I need to elaborate. Wow, this is the perfect teal. I love how it shades and has the dark halo around the edges. It is visible in the writing. You need to look closer, but it's there. The pen was quite hard to use on 68 GSM TRP, so definitely harder than on this Hobonichi paper. The material, what is material? The material, okay. Material felt slippery, and so it was hard to keep the nib at the right and smoothest position. I might have to change the nib in the future. On 52 TRP, it feels better, but I have not written with it long enough to know if that paper would be enough to make the writing experience great. We'll see how it goes after journaling. If I journal with this, I will know more, but I haven't used that yet. So yeah, I want to see how it performs, and I also want to give this nib a fair chance in a pen where I don't struggle with the grip section. The grip section is wide enough for me to hold onto it, but it definitely is a slippery slope. Okay, I'm sorry this was such a weird topic besides the fountain pen content. I hope you're not scared away now. I chose this topic, this book ban topic, so you know what you got yourself into when you started watching these videos. I hope to keep it a little bit lighter in the future, but I really appreciate you being here, listening to my rambles and my politics. If you do not agree with me, that's totally fine. There's always the opportunity to unsubscribe if the way that I'm thinking is so offensive to you. I'm not going to change the way that I'm thinking and the way that I'm talking just because you feel offended. All right, I will see you soon. Until then, bye.